Hi everyone, as promised, I am going to be sharing my thoughts, book review on this book I just read, Holy Love. I have never done a book review before, besides obviously the Bible with each video, which I give rave reviews on. But this book, Holy Love, I've done so much reading in addition to supplement my meditation on the Bible and my Bible study. And I have tons of books and resources, and I feel like, why haven't I not shared this with you? They're sitting on my website on letterfromchrist.com, or if you're on Instagram, I have a link, an Amazon link, and there's a section with books there. If you're on TikTok, it's also in the link up there as well with all of the books that I've read. But I'm going to try to go through one each week or whatever I can accomplish to be able to get these to you and talk a little bit about them, for maybe it's something you're working on. And I have so many more to add to that aren't even on there, but I'm going to be adding them over time, and this is on there. So Holy Love by Alyssa Romeo and Adam Foley. It's interesting that this is the first book I'm sharing with you because it's not Christian per se. It is, as the title would suggest, holy. It fits in perfectly with all of our learnings and teachings, and it's just a complement to that, to be able to give you some good techniques in order to bring out that what God teaches, right? And it is about connecting with self and the Holy Spirit in prayer, and so you just kind of have to apply it in that way. And I thought it was really transformative for me, and I've shared it with all my friends and girlfriends, and that is why I want to share it with you as well. So love, holy love. Love is the foundation, obviously, and the way I relate to this, bringing this into Christianity, is 1 Corinthians 13:13, right? And now, so I don't get it wrong, and now these three remain: faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love, right? It's our foundation, it's our core. When we feel loved, when we give love and feel love, at least for me, I feel it physically. I can feel it now as I'm putting myself intentionally in the moment of feeling loved. I can feel myself fill up with joy and emotion. I feel it in all the cells of my body, and it's amazing. Giving love is something that I'm really good at. Receiving, wasn't as good at that. And what I discovered also in this last season of my life, or the season that I'm coming through right now, is that self-love, that love of self. And I realized that while this is the first book review that I'm doing, the very first video for Letter from Christ was about self-love. It was based upon love your neighbor as yourself. And it was the as yourself part that had hit home for me. And I did my first video February 14th. It was a Valentine's Day one. I was single. And it, I was like, well, what romantic partner is there for me to love? And it was really about loving myself. And I feel like God has been poking at me, and that was in 2020. For a long time, about, Janine, look within. You need to love you too. And I looked up that verse today to share it with you, love your neighbor as yourself, so I could go back, instead of looking at the video to find out, what the verse was, because I don't have it memorized. I took my Bible version app, I looked it up, and then I just realized for the first time, there are 10 other verses that specifically say, love your neighbor as yourself. And I am going to read them to you, and you please tell me if I'm missing any. Love your neighbor as yourself is mentioned in Matthew 19:19, Matthew 22:39, Mark 12:31, Galatians 5:14, James 2:8, Leviticus 19:34, Leviticus 19:18, Mark 12:33, Luke 10:27, Romans 13:9. Love your neighbor as yourself 10 times. After 1 Corinthians 13:13, the greatest of these is love. So love is the center, it's the utmost important thing. And if you know, a lot of people think loving yourself, that's selfish, right? You know, it's not. And I've actually been doing some more work on that, like thinking about self-love, is that selfish? And with these 10 verses, knowing we have to love ourselves, and what does that actually look like? So anyway, that's what got me to this book, is really exploring that and picking up the little breadcrumbs, I call them, that God has been leaving for me along the way to think about holy love. And what holy love is really about is it connecting with your soul, connecting with the Holy Spirit inside of you, connecting with the soul that God is pouring into, and listening to that voice rather than your ego that gets involved. And another quick book, which I'll share another day, but I can't, when I hear ego, I automatically think of this book. I'm a certified facilitator for Lead Like Jesus, which has tons of classes. It's amazing. But one thing I'll share, one little tidbit from this book talks about the ego as well. And there's a great acronym that they use. Ego is edging God out. And this book doesn't mention that, but it does talk about the separation of like listening to your ego versus listening to your soul, and really getting to know your soul and having a conversation with your soul. And how do you do that? How do you tap in to that, right? Well, it's prayer, right? It's tapping into the Holy Spirit. It's asking your true inner self that God has created you some of real honest questions. And that's why I said they have tons of techniques like soul journaling. And I've dived into each one, and I could not believe the information that the Holy Spirit led me to put pen to paper. I always have my journal with me, and I am writing away. And if you don't have, like, you could use your notes on your phone as well to soul journal. There are, like, I can't even tell you how many, like, I've bookmarked. There's so many, like, little dog ears on each one here that I've been like, oh, I'm gonna do this exercise, or I've done this exercise. But the very first one was just like amazing on soul journaling. And it's taking that moment in time to ask yourself thought-provoking questions. And instead of allowing your ego to be answering them, that surface, those excuses we use, those things we tell other people or ourselves, that image we like to project. What is it really? Go deep within, go deep within. I prayed before I did any of this. I prayed to God. I prayed for guidance from the Holy Spirit, and then I dove into this book. So although it is not explicitly Christian, we can overlay our knowledge and teaching of Jesus Christ and lay it within this and make it work within that context. But it certainly fits into everything that we're learning and everything that we believe. And I've asked my soul questions, and I've also been able to think about the soul of others and connecting on a soul-to-soul level, rather than this ego to ego level of what we project and we put out there. And it is love. It is showing me how to love me. So I started with me, and how to love others, and how to receive. And it's just so important, and it is the foundation. And when we're feeling that way, it's filling us up. So I highly recommend, I don't want to give too much away here. There's so many exercises, but pick up Holy Love if this is something you're working on. Self-love, you're working on your direction of where you want to go. This also isn't just about love, but it's about getting aligned with God. Why are you making the decisions you're making? Contact your the Holy Spirit first, right? Get into yourself first, get into your soul self, and contact, rather than let your ego quick make these decisions. So we can stay on God's path. We can figure out that life purpose. So taking that moment to go within. I'm super practical as an executive life coach. I need the techniques to do that. The Bible is great, and they show illustrations and examples. And if we look at what Jesus did, and he walked away and he went and prayed, and he, you have to read into that. But I know some of us need more of an instruction manual with, well, do this, do this, do this, do this, means doing, this is what he was doing when he did that, right? And Jesus spoke in parables and not everyone got it. some others, and that's why others are here to kind of break some of this down and say, okay, here's a step-by-step book on ways that you can bring some of these things in the Bible alive. Self-love, getting aligned with him, walking with the Holy Spirit. And so that is what this did for me. And I've gone through it all. I haven't needed all of the exercises in the book right now. I've used some, and others I haven't. So take what works for you and don't use what doesn't serve you. But I'd love to hear how you think about it. And I will continue to do more of these. If you find this helpful, give us a like, trying to figure out what content is best for you. I have so many things that I'm doing and I'm working on and I'm involved on. And I realize I've been very selfish with those things in that I have consumed a ton of content and research. And I share with you a Bible verse and what it means to me, but there's a lot more that I can be sharing to help you get to good from great. I am an executive coach. I'm the founder of Letter from Christ. I have a corporate job. I do, a lot of work. I'm around a lot of smart, successful people, loving people, kind people, Christian people, just awesome materials and resources, and I've just consumed them and they're within me, and now I want to be sharing them more with you. So let's start with holy love and then we can dig into things more deeply. There's also a thing I want to share with you around communication styles and being able to use, I don't know if you've all done Myers-Briggs before and things of that nature, or DISC, but I am certified to deliver to you or for you to receive biblical DISC, where it really can map you to a character within the Bible. And let's think about, like, how do you relate from your personality and your communication style, and how do other people in your life relate, and how can we enhance your relationship through understanding them through the Bible and through communications and what you're naturally good at and what your natural personality is and what others are as well. So it's a great tool, and I have been certified in that for quite a few years now and have done not a lot with it. Again, I've consumed materials and not shared it. So here is the start to that. Let me know if you want more of it. I'll keep it more concise going forward. I'm just super excited to be sharing this with you today. And as always, have a blessed and abundant day filled with love and knowledge. Take care, everyone.